Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from JailBreak, and I haven't put a video out in a while because I've been working on an absolutely epic video. It's a video about the literal first overlanders in the United States, and one of them being the most amazing survivalist I've ever read about, ever. The video is going to be about an hour or so long, and it's a touch out of my comfort zone because I want to get this correct. I want to make this video spot on, true to the history. Now, Hollywood's done a movie on this particular person, and it was about 3 hours long, and they did not do him any justice. They changed it around. They didn't show the story as they should have because it's the most amazing story I've ever read. So, in the meantime, there is a lot of new subscribers here to Jailbreak Overlander. This channel's getting really big, and that's awesome. So to all the new subscribers, I'm going to do this video right now and show you some of my favorite footage I've ever taken. I'm not married, and I don't have children. I love to travel the United States and go to remote places, and when I do, I videotape it. And when I videotape it, like what you're seeing or anything you see on this channel, I videotaped it myself. I travel alone. Some of my favorite stuff to video is animals. I've seen some crazy stuff like what you're looking at right now, but my favorite thing is animals. And I go to a lot of places and try to find animals. The more exotic, the more dangerous, the better. So for all the new people and all the old people, you're going to want to sit back, you're going to want to relax, and you're going to want to check this out. This footage was taken a few months ago when I found myself down in the Louisiana Bayou. Now, I had never spent any time down here, so I had to find a local, somebody that I knew, to basically show me around, or, show me the ropes. I spent some time on my own, poking around through the woods, the bayous in the middle of the night, looking for owls, rattlesnakes, Bigfoots, etc. But what I really wanted to do was hit the bayou with a local in a boat so we could see alligators, pelicans, bald eagles, turtles in their natural environment. I had to find myself a boat captain, and I did. His name was Brandon. So sit back, relax, and check this out. After a couple of heavy downpours, the weather cleared up, the skies cleared up, and we were able to hit the water. And when we did, it was amazing. Brandon knew those bayous like the back of his hand. We were cruising in tight spaces, in amazingly isolated places most people will never see in their entire lives. Seeing the bayou from the water was a whole different perspective on how people lived there. It was amazing looking at churches, houseboats, etc. And then riding the boat under flocks of amazingly colorful tropical birds was absolutely priceless. And we ran into every type of bird and tropical animal you could possibly find in the bayou. It was truly an epic experience. Now, this big fella right here might not look like much, but it's the Louisiana state bird, and he is enormous. Brandon had told me he had never seen one on the bayou in his life. This thing followed the boat from the front, and every time we'd catch up to him, he'd sit there and look at us, and then he would take flight. And when he took to the air, he looked like a pterodactyl with at least an 8-foot wingspan. Right here. Now, what you're about to hear at the end of this video is 2 or more barred owls courting or mating with each other. But it sounds so alien, so otherworldly, it's amazing. And fortunately, while I was in Louisiana, I was able to catch up and get actual footage. But listen to this. It sounds like it's from another planet. If you Now this footage is from the exact same trip, same time of the year, maybe even the same day, where I actually got to get my camera on one of the owls I believe that was making all that racket in the last video. So check this out, or don't. I'm out on the Louisiana Bayou. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and before I hit the sack, I realize that I've got a fish on the line. I'm camped right on the edge of the bayou. So I go grab a net because this is a big old catfish. Got me a big old catfish. Yeah, it's a big boy, huh? Look at that old boy go. All right. And for those that don't know, that was indeed the catfish grunting. They do that. So it's a crazy thing. But after I put the fish into the hoop net for the night, I heard this way off in the distance. It was the call of the barred owl. Sit back, relax, and watch this city boy try to track a barred owl at night in the swamp. After hooking the catfish and putting it away for the night, my plan was to go to bed. But once I heard that barred owl call, I had to try to find it. So I headed directly off into the wilderness, which was all swampland, as you can see. I had no earthly reason to be doing this, but I could not resist. Running into these at home is such a rare event. Having them calling all night all around me, I had to try and locate this thing. I headed off into the dark, not having any idea where I was, and more importantly, having no idea where the owl was. Every once in a while, the coyotes would quiet down enough for me to actually hear the barred owl call again, but they were few and far between. But when it comes to things like this, I'm fairly tenacious and I was not going to stop. Even when I found myself walking face first into incredibly abundant spider webs, I continued forward. I was way out of my element out here, and I'm in the lowlands. I'm pushing through vines and thorns and all sorts of bugs the size of helicopters, and I'm starting to give up hope. So I get ready to head back to the spot where I parked my truck for the night, and as I'm crossing a bridge that goes over a stream that has gators and armadillos and such in it, I see what I think are eyes in a tree. And it turns out they were. Right about at eye level, I noticed him, sitting in a tree, and the reason he had stopped calling so often is because he was hunting. He was right over a strip of water with a couple of small gators right underneath him and an armadillo, but he had his eye on something else entirely. I understood why he had quieted down. And for all those people that are under the impression that the barred owl is strictly diurnal or a daytime owl, it's almost midnight, and he's out here having a hell of a time hunting. Being able to videotape an owl hunting as close as I was absolutely awesome. It was unbelievable because I had spent many days, weeks, and months looking for owls to find nothing. For instance, to find this same bird in the Northeast is a whole other story. This is video that I took about a week prior to me heading down to Louisiana. And once again, in the Northeast, I was looking for owls. Now, for those of you that are saying, why would you be looking for owls during the day? Well, here's the deal. Owls hunt at night, and they hunt anything that moves pretty much, as long as it's smaller than them. Mice, voles, moles, rabbits, birds, other owls, etc. And when they catch them, they eat them whole. After they digest them, they vomit them up in what's called a pellet. And what it is it's the fur, the bones, the teeth, the claws, etc. And the thing about owls is when they hunt and when they eat, they usually sit in the same place. So if you can spend your time during the day looking around the woods for a tree with a circle or several pellets from an owl around it, you have a really good idea of where he's located or where he hangs out and hunts. And that's what I was doing on this particular day. Sadly, the sun was going down where I was. It was really cold out, and I had a long walk back to my truck out of the woods. So I kind of gave up for the day and headed out. And as I was heading out, the moon was coming up, the sun was completely down. I had the great fortune to just happen to spot a barred owl sitting in a tree looking down on a stream, obviously hunting or looking for something to eat. The thing about barred owls that I've noticed is they don't scare easy. I'm 245 pounds, and I walked right up to this thing with a camera, crunching around with no tripod, not being particularly quote-unquote stealth, and it just sat there and let me videotape it. As a matter of fact, I came back the next day and found what I think was this same barred owl sitting 2 trees over. And once again, it didn't seem to mind the fact that I was there whatsoever at all. And I videotaped it for as long as I wanted, basically. I think these things are absolutely beautiful. I think all of God's creation is absolutely beautiful. And sadly, by man and specifically corporations, their environment's getting destroyed. And trying to find animals in the wild is becoming very difficult. At least on the eastern seaboard it is. At any rate, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below and I will definitely get back to you. At any rate, Richie from JailBreak, and I am out.